Hello, this is Hot Indonesia, your weekend love affair. I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. Here is this week's HI Hot List. Fear Factor, why Jakarta ranks last in a Safe Cities report. Media Moonlighting, Parliament plans to ban lawmakers from side showbiz jobs, Sarah. And she said what? The latest beauty queen banality. Here with me every week are Rahayu Saraswati, Sarah, first-year Parliament member, activist, and Queen of Clean. Kind of a neat nick, right? Just so you are.
Some people would argue.
Okay. And Yenny Wahid, director of the Wahid Institute, daughter of the fourth president of Indonesia, and dancing queen. Yeah, she is. Hot topic number one, fear factor. The latest report from the UK's Economist Intelligence Unit ranks 50 cities on 5 continents for their safety. And Jakarta comes in at number 50, at the bottom. The assessment is based on 4 areas: health and digital security, and personal and infrastructure safety. Just ahead of Jakarta is Tehran at number 1 on the list. No surprise, Tokyo. Of course, there are big differences between Tokyo and Jakarta, Japan and Indonesia. But we should be ahead of places like Mexico City and Tehran, and we're not, which is pretty scary.
Well, I was going to ask what the criteria was based on. I mean, safety, I was thinking more like security, as in when you're walking down the street at night,
That's part
you
of it.
feel
Yeah,
safe,
yeah,
right? But then when you do take into account maybe, I don't know what, the construction, digital security and all of that, perhaps it's not like that. But however, for those of us living here, I personally feel safer here than in certain European countries.
And in New York,
cities.
I feel safer here than walking on the streets of New York.
Yeah, to be honest.
But crime is a growing concern here because the economy is growing and the middle class disposable income, and that's when crime also grows, unfortunately.
I think one of the problems that people look at is there's no safety, no safety precautions, in the sense that if you get involved in a crime, if you get caught in a crime, then act against you, then there might not be a police.
Right.
Police.
There's no like 911 that's gonna come like
there
to the rescue.
There is 911. There's a.
But I mean, not one that will be there in 5 minutes.
Well, they will respond to you like in 3 hours.
Oh God.
Once.
Okay, that's right.
And then, unfortunately, sometimes you have to add a little incentive to them to do your case, and that's part of the problem. Okay. Digital security, you mentioned that. We are in 48th place out of 50. And that means your city has a dedicated cyber crimes unit. You have the frequency of identity thefts in your city. So we're still a developing kind of technology nation. So I understand why we're low on that list.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, but
because
again,
we use social media so much here.
Yeah, that's why I was asking about whether what the criteria was. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that we're still behind on when we're talking about. Okay, yes, safety in terms of, do we feel we can come forward when a crime has been done to us? Like, do we feel like it's gonna go forward in court without having to bribe anybody, right? That kind of thing. Yeah, that's still a big problem. But at the same time, when you're talking about the community and people being there for you, I think they still rally with you, for you,
especially in the villages. In urban areas, maybe the safety level is lower than in rural areas.
Yeah, big city problems.
Yeah, they are collective mechanism, to safeguard everyone. They've got
like a neighborhood watch.
Neighborhood
in the US.
watch, absolutely.
That kind of
yes,
okay.
they do that.
Infrastructure safety. Let's move on. We're in 48th place, and that's no surprise to me. And that refers to quality of roads, accidents, and deaths from natural disasters. Meaning, are our structures safe? Are they built with proper standards? We're not quite world standard yet.
And I think it's also the basic is knowledge of, safety on the road, as in just wearing the seat belt, I mean,
helmets.
Oh gosh, you have families of like 3 children with the parents, squeezing them between, it is a bit scary to say the least.
And what does it all go back to? Enforcement of laws that are on the books, right?
Enforcement of law, and also culture. Values that people are, that parents are instilling in their kids, and making sure that, the kids will follow the rules.
Right.
And also that they will take certain precautions to make sure that they're safe. I mean, there is this mentality in Indonesia, which is that just leave it to God. That kind of mentality.
Yeah.
If it's my fate, I'm in an accident, I'll be in an accident. There's also that kind of cultural
that's a wrong
layers. Yeah, of course. It's fatalist, fatalistic
Yeah.
attitude about life.
And especially
That's a
when
good
you said your kids, they don't have control over what they're doing on the motorbike with their parents behind
Some
them.
of them are like falling asleep,
Yeah.
and we're just
They
yeah,
grow
we're
up
like,
kind of
okay.
smashed between the mother and father in traffic,
But,
right?
but again, when we're talking about transportation and all that, back again, it just means it's not even about, okay, do we stop them from traveling? I mean, they still want to go see their family somewhere else, or
And it's based on
across the-
economy. They can't afford a car.
and public transportation that unfortunately is still, it's developing here. I mean, I hope it's getting better, especially in Jakarta, but.
Okay, health security was the last area. Jakarta's highest ranking at number 44. And what that means is based on the ratio of, for example, hospital beds to patients, number of doctors.
Oh, you're not just talking
per-
about pollution?
No. Mainly medical care. And
That's the first
you know,
thing.
that's a little deceiving too, because we may have a lot of beds, but then the quality of service in the beds, to me, still has to rise to the global standard, say it like a Singapore or a Malaysia, where we travel to get medical checkups a lot of times. I think our quality of service is improving here, but I don't think we're quite there. Is that fair?
Again, in some in urban areas, you might see a better ratio between hospital beds and a number of patients. But when you go to rural areas, it's just appalling, the condition there. I mean, people have to travel like kilometers before they can go to hospital, a proper
Absolutely.
hospital.
In your district in Central Java?
Yeah, they have to. I mean, come on, we have pregnant, like about to give birth ladies, like going on motorcycle on really bad roads to actually make it to the hospitals. It's still something that a lot of us we need to really build our infrastructure to actually again make it possible for people.
And
to
again,
get
being ranked last out of
access.
50 cities, I mean, it's a subjective thing. It's based on their analysis, but we get the message.
Yeah.
Lot-
Actually, there's one thing that I do want to touch on is the, child safety right now. We're talking about in schools. We're talking about, when is it safe in our communities? And unfortunately, it's an issue that hardly anybody talks about. So when we're talking about child abuse, we're talking about child pornography, it's still very much behind closed doors, and we have the same issues as it is abroad.
Yeah, thankfully, we don't have those issues of gun violence in schools, which is plaguing other countries, as we know. Okay.
But we have walls.
Yeah,
okay.
that's with big knives.
All right. Hot Indo will continue shortly. No more pitching products for lawmakers. You're watching Hot Indonesia with Yenny, Sarah, and me. Here's hot topic number 2, media moonlighting.
Angin. Gampang, minum antangin JRG.
It's been a way to keep their profiles high and make some side money, but Parliament is preparing to ban lawmakers from show business, supporters saying it's improper and unethical. Other countries, such as the US, already have ethics rules barring public servants from commercial advertising. This is common sense, but of course that doesn't always win out here. Interestingly, Golkar lawmaker Tanto Iyaya, who is a very renowned country western singer, says he agrees with the ban. And he's an entertainer. So, Sarah, what are you?
We're waiting for
I'm
answers.
like waiting until do I have to say anything? I mean, the thing is, we are hoping that other people will speak up. In a sense, I'm not totally against it. That's number one. I understand where it's coming from. I understand where my colleagues are coming from who are drafting. It's not a done deal yet.
Right.
They're still talking over it because there are still a lot of. It's not just that one issue, but the issue it was actually, should it be banned for as in everything in the entertainment industry that's commercial, or should it be banned for those that are misrepresenting and it's giving the parliament members a bad name if you're involved in certain.
You mean like selling sausage?
What would be?
I don't know. I
I
don't know
the
but-
definitions of creating bad names for the parliament. I mean,
I have no idea, but that's what they just said. If it's
But I thought it was
if
just
it's
TV
something that's
ads.
ethically
I
questioned.
thought it was just
or-
pitching products like selling.
No, it's films. It's
Also
TV
movies. You
series.
can't do movies?
Yeah, it's everything.
Because-
It's
So I have to say
advertising.
former actress in your introduction.
Now here's the thing. Where I actually differ on this point, I don't think necessarily. Here's the thing. If you're actually there is a ban for lawyers to still practice, for accountants, blah blah blah. Those that have direct,
have, conflict of interest.
conflict of interest with being a parliament member. However, I mean, my friends who are actors and singers and all of that, who are in the entertainment industry, they're all saying, well, what we've been doing has nothing, it's not in conflict with, as long as we're still doing our duties and it does not affect the scheduling.
Maybe you got to
of
differentiate
our,
creative side with commercial side. Creative is an
Commercial
artist,
side,
yeah?
yes.
Because
Yeah.
it obviously, if a parliament member is supposed to represent the public, she or he cannot be doing commercial endorsements of a product
No.
because,
It's unethical, and it's also
Yeah.
conflict of interest.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
Direct conflict of interest.
but we've had speakers of the House who have, I think before I've heard this, I think I need to double check whether it's true or not, endorsing Indonesian made products. And there's actually one.
But it's not just one particular product. It's Indonesian-made products. It's
Yeah.
like a national.
Yeah.
It's actually part of the
and we've
duty
seen some lawmakers in
of the-
commercials
yes.
pitching products.
Right.
Yeah.
So do we actually
Cabinet members.
is that ethically
No,
questionable?
it should, and
right?
you would never see that in another more developed
Well,
democracy.
can I just say something? When
say
people
anything,
when people read about this, they say, "Look, you don't need to ban them because they're already in the entertainment industry anyway." The parliament members, the decisions they make.
It's a sexy issue
it's such
right
a
now.
tragic comedy.
We're sexy to watch right now.
Okay, but seriously, in the ethics situation in other countries, they're banned from all outside work. I mean, obviously, a
Yeah.
lawmaker should not be on the payroll of a bank or an airline or anything where you have a potential conflict of interest because you're voting on legislation that could affect that sector.
Yes.
But there's no such ban here.
No, but I
yet.
think one thing though that has, I've actually mentioned this before in my campaign. People have asked me, are you going to keep acting or, your job, in the talk show and everything? And I said,
Hey,
well,
wait.
yes, as long as.
You can do. This is not commercial. This is
well,
public
that's
affairs.
what I would need to explain to.
If it's a
to the
PSA,
board.
public service ad, maybe it's acceptable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, you make the differentiation
I don't
between
think
the
this is a commercial.
No,
This show.
because it's not like I'm, it's not
Selling
like
a product.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like saying my opinions and all.
Unless
that.
you make
But-
the cupcakes yourself.
Yeah. Hey, wait a minute. Now you can't push these cupcakes.
Wait, it's not mine.
But the ban hasn't started yet.
Fine, but it's
and I'm going
not-
to explain
it's
these
not
later.
Me who
Okay.
made it. Okay, but what I'm saying is, I think there's one thing that I was promoting during my campaigns. One of the reasons why I would like to keep my job is so that I actually will stay away from corruption because I get paid better in my acting jobs.
But the problem is, it's about definition of corruption again. This is not just about money, but it's also about time. Because when you devote so much time to your acting careers, it means that you're corrupting.
But
your,
that's what I said.
That's
As long
how
as
you
it
needed
doesn't,
to devote
as
to your
long as it
constituents.
doesn't clash in terms of the times and it doesn't take away from your main priority, which is for the people and your job as a representative of the people, then I think it should be fine because.
But when do you
there's
have
no
time?
conflict.
You're so busy.
yeah, is that realistic? I mean,
No, but
with
certain
juggling
certain
everything?
films only take about like a week to 2 weeks for your part. As long as you don't take a main role, I think it's fine. And even if it's a main role and the movie does not take that long to film, and it's just in one place, it could be done.
So
Okay.
they're very strict.
You're going to make this argument before the.
Well, I mean, I will give it to my friends who are in the board to actually who actually make that decision. But I won't necessarily be like complaining so much if they decide to stop that.
Well, let me just say that Go ahead. Go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, I don't think should just apply to parliament members. It should also apply to governors, to all public sectors,
public official,
officials.
public servants.
Arnold
Filter.
might have an issue with that.
Who's this?
Arnold
Who's Arnold?
Schwarzenegger.
He's done. So he's acting. He's back acting already.
Well, he appeared in few shows
Well,
while he was
it was
still
like
a governor.
cameos.
Cameo.
Right, come on, if that's banned, he shouldn't even appear anywhere.
Last point. It's similar to actually being a journalist because we shouldn't. We are not allowed in international organizations when employed by them to be have a side job or side. At CNBC also you couldn't own certain stocks because you're reporting on it. So. There's just a conflict of interest, and sometimes the perception is always talk about greater than reality. You may not have a problem, but the public thinks you do, and then it affects your job. Okay.
Right.
All right. More Hot Indo is coming up, and the winner of the 2015 Nobel Peace Prize is. You're watching Hot Indonesia from Jakarta. Here is hot topic number 3. She said what?
I know as Miss USA, I can always spread a message of hope and love and peace. And so I would do my very best to spread that message to them and everyone else in the world.
That was the answer Miss USA Nia Sanchez gave to the question from boxer Manny Pacquiao. If you had 30 seconds, what would you say to a global terrorist? Some say she lost the Miss Universe crown last Sunday on that time-worn answer. Now, on a positive note, Indonesia took home a big prize, Best National Costume, to Elvira Devina Mida for her 20-kilogram Borobudur temple outfit. That was something. They had to wheel her in. Did you see that on a Jeep because she couldn't walk?
Really?
No,
I
No,
didn't see
I-
that.
We
Just kidding.
didn't watch it.
But she was in. Really?
Dude, I mean,
Thank
we
you, you
look like
believe
we
me.
have time to actually
No,
watch
but she was a
the
top
Miss
15
Universe.
finisher, so we should take. I mean, you saw the outfit. It was. I mean,
Well, here's the thing.
humongous.
The good thing about traffic, Dalton, on the way here, I actually
watched the
managed to
pageant.
watch a little bit
all
of
right.
clips of the
That
pageant.
was a spectacular costume. You got to admit.
Right.
I
It
mean,
was.
You want to hear the
No,
funny?
seriously, if we can't win anything, we should definitely win
Every year.
Every year
Hey,
for best
did you see
costume.
Miss
Same for
Canada's
that.
costume? Miss Canada
The
was
hockey
the worst.
stick.
Yeah, she had hockey sticks.
That's very
coming out.
creative.
It wasn't the worst. I
That
thought it was.
was the worst.
I thought it was pretty
I mean,
creative,
it's-
considering they don't really
man,
have
what, they
the
don't have any
national
icons? Okay.
costume,
Let's
right?
get back
Do
to the-
they?
What
What
I
about
think I'm gonna get like
maple
a big
leaves or
slap by
something, you know,
Canadians
maybe
after
covered
this.
in maple
Hockey
leaves
sticks
or
is
you
not
know
very-
like that.
Maple leaf.
Maple leaf, you know?
Let's get back to my
No,
premise.
yeah, she should be carrying out like pancakes and.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's just bad. See,
ser-
we're doing stereotypes right now. This is bad.
Serious for a second. Back to the interview part. You know,
Okay.
love and peace is such a corny answer. I mean, we didn't. That's the stereotypical beauty queen, and
But-
she
But you've
gave
got
it.
30 seconds.
Yeah.
How do you elaborate in 30 seconds?
Well,
on
I could.
such
Well,
a-
We
okay.
could.
Yeah, Sarah, you give her 30 minutes.
Yeah.
No,
Maybe you should
let
run.
me say this. I asked our Indonesia channel beauty queen, Ashifa Latif, our weather anchor on the news. She was Miss Indonesia 2010. I said, if you had that, what would you say? And I asked her immediately. She said, my response would be, no one but God can take a life, so no man or woman should make that decision. I mean, that's a
Wow, I like that.
you know, and she
Hey,
just
get
saw-
into
so-
Indonesia on the.
So my point is,
top
you
5
can't
next
give
Smart beauty
that
queen.
love and peace answer and expect to win, and that's why she
No,
didn't win.
but I mean, to be honest though, it's when we okay. Sorry, but none of us really expect them to say that much, you know, in the question and answer.
They're supposed
I
to be
mean,
young,
it's
intelligent women.
very
They're
rare.
young.
It's
Are they-
You're defending
Is there,
her.
is
No,
there
it's-
a part
it's
of
very
being
rare for
intelligent?
us
There is actually spelled out?
maybe they
That
should
you
do an
need to be
IQ
intelligent
test
there?
too.
It's
That you need to be intelligent?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe they should do an IQ test
is
to
it-
be
is it
a Miss
there?
Pageant. You need to be minimum 300 and something.
Okay, so I guess
Is
you're
that
saying
what's-
it's
I
just
thought
a
it's just
beauty
tiny
contest.
ways that
It's
it's
not the
not.
United Nations, so we should just sit back and enjoy.
No, it's not. Okay, that too. That too. Aside from me hitting my head with some of their answers, really, it's just like.
Well, that proves my point.
Well, you know,
I'm
the
an
one that
activist for
supports
anti-child,
prostitution,
right?
I mean,
Yeah, apparently
come
she's.
on,
I'm an
it's-
ambassador for child
child
prostitution. I
prostitution.
mean, I would prefer that she says I'm an
That's very
ambassador for
original.
anti-child prostitution.
She supports child prostitution.
No,
Well, she's
she
an
wants it
ambassador
to
for that.
stop.
See, that's what
you
the
know.
less people who took her literally would believe.
Yeah, but unfortunately,
that's
it's
what she
lost in
said.
translation. She's not. It's not her. You know,
Oh,
English
it was
is
the
not her
translation.
first.
Oh, was she
No,
speaking
no, no.
English?
She was speaking in English, but again, it's
Mistake
not her
number one.
first.
Well, you know,
language.
they're young, they're on stage, they're nervous,
Hey,
they've
this
got the
wasn't their
whole
first-
universe
But you know what?
watching
You
them.
know the answer
judging
that
them.
the answer that I was a bit disappointed by because I had such high hopes
Only
because
one?
she looked only one because she looked I was disappointed by all, but I meant the one that because I had higher expectation of her was from Jamaica.
Oh.
You know.
Who was one of the favorites?
She's
Yeah,
nice.
she looked gorgeous. I mean, it looked, but the only thing
But-
was probably because she probably knew she was above the rest because she
The
was
word
carrying
is, what is the
herself
word?
so well.
Sombong, a little bit.
Yes,
Okay.
snombong is snooty, snob,
Arrogant.
arrogant.
But I like Miss Netherlands.
Not gonna judge.
Yeah, Miss
This
Nat-
is
Miss
when
Nat-
she was asked whether the
The
beauty
anti-child-
pageant, the beauty
Child-
pageant
oh.
should be. I think it's Miss Netherlands or it's Miss whatever, Ukrainian.
What did
or-
she say?
Oh, Ukraine.
Ukraine,
Should
Ukraine.
you take out the
The beauty pageant from the contest.
beauty?
And
But
she
no,
beauty-
you
the
mean
beauty-
the
the
swimsuit.
swimming suit.
Okay, and what did she say?
I was like the
And
beauty
she
pageant.
said, "Well, I don't mind if it's a nice suit. You know, wait.
She's like, I'm
Love.
fine with it.
As long as it's a nice
As
suit.
long as
That's
it's
honest.
nice.
Hey, yeah, exactly.
I'm
The
just like,
girls got
wow.
their preference, you know, the girl,
Wow.
you
Okay,
know,
yeah,
gotta
I
respect
think we
the
made our
preference.
feelings known on this. Okay, feedback
Yes.
time now. Do let us know if you think we're making sense to you. Jason in Jakarta texted this simple reaction after watching us last week about, I think, the Bahasa Indonesia for expats. He said, good show. Tell us more, Jason. Let it flow. Say a little more, please. If you have any feedback on what you've heard or would like to suggest a topic for us to tackle, please email us at hotindo@theindonesiachannel.com or comment through our Indonesia Channel Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram pages. Final words, Yenny.
I read this quote, which is, I think it's really nice, and I'd like to quote it here, which is, be nice to people on your way up because you meet them on your way down, by Jimmy Durante.
Ooh, what
Jimmy
goes up
Durante,
will come
Jimmy Durante.
down.
Famous entertainer in early 30s, 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
Okay, final words, Sarah. And by the way, well, we'll talk about these cupcakes next. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, what I was about to say that obviously you probably noticed I'm not wearing as much makeup as usual. I think it's just really concerning for me to see how some women actually literally go to the salon on their way to the mall. And I think I just want to spread the message out there that, well, this is how I look actually every day in Parliament. And you don't have to put on that much makeup.
War paint.
Because research has been done that actually if you put half as much as you usually do, that's as much as people actually like you to put on.
And you
So-
save half your makeup
and
budget.
it's all about inner beauty. It'll shine through. Hopefully mine will, because
But the
I have a lot of
economy,
zits
the
right
economy
now.
will suffer.
Yes.
The economy
make
will-
it.
I love how you're
Cosmetics.
coming from the other side. That's
you-
okay.
and my dear, you still look very beautiful, especially
Oh,
since
thank
it was
you.
your birthday this past week.
Glowing,
Anyway,
glowing. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
my
And
final
can
words
I have my cupcakes
before
now?
you eat your cupcake. My final words. You know, when it's tempting to cross the line in business or pleasure, that's when you've got to be the strongest. Because if you get something the wrong way, what you have is not worth the ethical price.
Ooh.
And again, happy birthday, Sarah. You celebrated this past week with these beautiful
Yay,
cupcakes.
cheers.
And your friend made these?
My friend,
Quick plug.
very, very,
Before the
very
band takes place.
Are you
talented.
endorsing
It's
it?
called
Endorsing?
Sweet Bites. So
All right.
go. You can
Sweetbites.com.
Sweet Bites Jakarta, or just try to find it on Instagram.
All right.
I think it's Sweet Bites.
And that is Hot
Oh,
Indonesia for this week. For
nice.
Sarah and Yenny, I'm Dalton Tanonaka. See you next time.